Okay, so now I'm live. Okay. Morning, family. How you all doing? I was having problems with the laptop, so I had to switch to the daggone phone. Did not want to do that at all, but I could not continue to play around with the daggone laptop forever and not get the show started. I wanted to show off my new camera. I wanted to show off my new hat. None of that's going to work today, but that's okay. I hope that everyone has had a great week. This week, we wanted to discuss um, the presidential address to Congress. We also wanted to discuss just the economy in general. We will stay on that until it doesn't become, it's not as big of an issue as it is right now. Uh, there was a confrontation between LeBron James with Stephen A. Smith, and we were going to talk about that. Brother Barry brought that to my attention, so we're definitely going to talk about that as well. In addition to that, I wanted to say rest in peace for a couple people because we've lost a couple people this week. Roy Ayers passed away. Roy Ayers is a Virgo, and he lost his life. He was 84 years old. He passed away on the 4th. And Dwayne Wiggins from Tony lost his life as well. He passed away just yesterday. Uh, that was really a gut punch for me. When they were in concert last year, I was moving too much and I missed out on them. So I had plans on seeing them in Detroit this year. And again, got the notification that the concert was canceled. I was like, what the heck is that all about? Then said something about illness. And later on, I saw the story break that it was not illness, nor was it uh, anything light. It was actually something very serious. He was one of the three members of the group, founding member. Uh, there was a, there's an interview circulating around in which Raphael Sadiq credited him with being a mentor to him, especially as far as instrumentation is concerned and writing as well. So definitely wanted to give props to that brother. A lot of great songs that they made over the years, same as Roy is, and they will truly be missed. But their gift lasts forever. It is their legacy. They left it for us to enjoy, and I hope that for years and years to come, not only we but our children, and potentially our children's children, enjoy it. I mean, hell, we've lost Angie Stone, Roy Ayers, and Dwayne Wiggins in less than a month. 2025 has come in with its funky ass, and it's showing up. It's showing out unnecessarily. So, uh, what do I want to say? Okay, so hopefully the brothers and sister will come on shortly. But that I'm moving on. Um, what did I want to talk about this week? Where did I really want to start at this week? I don't really have that big of a rant. Normally, I have something major to talk about, and I really don't have one to talk about this week. It was a fairly good week. My plan today after the show was to leave, go down to Montgomery, and participate in the commemoration of the Selma Bridge crossing, the Edmund Pettus Bridge. I call that everything except for its actual name. 4 or 5 times thus far this week. So I plan on doing that after the show today. I'll probably take up the rest of today and tomorrow. It was a long week, but very um not. I did a lot. I got a lot accomplished, so I'm happy for that. I was looking at and thinking about again the economy because we wanted to talk about that today. But I'm thinking about that just in general, and I'm just very happy to be in the situation that I'm in as far as life is concerned. You know, Brother Barry mentioned this on his show earlier today, and it's something I don't think enough people talk about. In every life we have loss. There's some degree of loss in everything we do. There are those trials, there are those tribulations, there are those rough patches, and the true measure of us is how well we get through them. Not how easily we get through, but how well we get through them. What do we learn on the other side? How do we rebound? How do we take those lessons and not only apply it to our lives, hopefully, but God willing, the creek don't rise, we're able to give that knowledge to somebody else to help them along the way. Because again, we all live through some type of loss. We all take an L in some form of fashion along the way. And I'm looking at life as it stands for me right now, and I'm in a good spot, man. Uh, my uncle and I, he pain in the ass, but that's my man. We're going to Asia this year, and we're looking at the flights. So we've already secured the main flight to go over. Now we're looking at the ones for the hopping because if you all know me, pay attention to me, I don't stay in one place for too long, especially when I'm on vacation. So we're going to go to Korea, Vietnam, and the Philippines. We had to secure those tickets along the way so that we were able to make it to those places. Already secured the rooms, that's done. Again, the big ticket is purchased as far as getting from here to there. So that's done as well. But now we're doing the other things, right? So I'm looking at the tickets and he's coming up with some freaking prices I never even would have imagined. I'm like, yeah, we're not doing that. So I found some other ways for us to get around and we got in and stuff. And um sister, I'm gonna bring you. I'm working off the cell phone, sis. But for whatever reason, my daggone uh, laptop, I lost the connection, and it's just horrible. So I went on over to the celly. I hope that hopefully I ain't been talking all this daggone time, and nobody could hear me. That would be not nice. That would be not nice at all. But yeah. Anyhow, I we're going to the Philippines, Vietnam, and Korea. So here we are buying those tickets and stuff, and I'm just thinking about it. And I'm like, yo, this is bananas right now. And I tell you that because I've been talking about going back to Asia for a very long time. One of my good friends, we were in the UK together. He's over there living and working, and I'm like, Ron, I'm coming, Ron, I'm coming, son, I'm coming, I'm coming. And I bluffed. I've bluffed. I've been back to Europe in, out so many daggone times. It's a special place in my heart for Europe. I got there when I was 18. I literally grew up there. It's very special, near and dear to me. So, but it was time to break that. It was time to do something different. It was time to really extend my reach, extend my horizons. I'm 50 now. I'm looking at retirement. Where is that going to be for me? That's really the biggest thing in my mind right now. Taking care of the grandkids because the kids are grown, so to hell with them. But taking care of the grandkids and retirement, what does that look like? Where is that going to be? So I'm very hot on what does that look like for me in the near future? And I know I've said that a gazillion times before. You'll probably hear it a gazillion more. But folks, we gotta live in these realities. We have to have these discussions with one another, amongst one another, so that we can leave a legacy for our children and our children's children, and hopefully their children by default that we did right by them. Especially if they do right by us and the legacy that we left. But yeah, man, that was really cool. But all of that again goes back just to the place in life that I am in right now. I told Rashi, told you all a couple of months ago that it's been yeah, it's almost 2 months that I was coming out to visit because I was coming out for work. Well, who knew that there would be a snow blizzard in Kansas in January? I mean, who would have thought it? Seriously. And when that got canceled, it actually was moved back to, well, hell, the week after next, because pretty much we're in it this week. Well, next week, but actually it's the week after next. So not this weekend, not this Monday, but next Monday, Rashi, I'll be flying out to come out that way, right? And even in that, man, it's just There's no pressure on my chest. It's not like I've never been there before. I'm really looking forward to getting out there. I'm really looking forward to seeing Rashi. I'm really looking forward to going to the Negro League Museum. I'm really looking forward. I may even go to the Jazz Museum this summer. I've been to the Negro League Museum 4 or 5 times, easy, but I've never gone to the left to go to the Jazz Museum. And I really think that I'm going to go to the left this year and go to the Jazz Museum. What I mean by that, you all, is when you walk into it's a museum complex. So or is it a, what do they call it, Rashi? Is it a cultural arts center? I don't know exactly what they call it, but when you walk in,
Yeah, that's pretty
what do they
close.
call it,
Yeah,
Rashi?
that's pretty close. But yeah, it's three.
I can't hear you,
Um,
sis.
you can't hear
Can I
me?
not hear you? Because
I'm mic'd.
okay, yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, I wasn't up. Could you hear me? Because I wasn't up.
Yes, of course.
Okay,
Yes,
bet.
you said it right. It's a cultural arts center.
Okay,
And they designed it quite smartly in that you get almost three in one.
what's the
Uh,
third one?
huh?
What's the third one?
Oh, the third one is the Blue Rooms Museum.
I didn't even know about that one. I never even paid attention to that one. I don't think.
Uh-huh. There's three in one. There's the baseball center, the
Right.
jazz center, and then the Blue Room itself is like a photo art. It's an art gallery,
Hmm.
and it leads into some like it's a smaller gallery itself.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So yeah, it's maintained. That's it's one of our few projects here that they was able to get their bond money back from. So
Okay.
to where it earned, in conjunction with another black community, 24 or 25 million dollars in restoration.
That's what's
And so
up.
some of those buildings that were just facades are about to be restored to actual buildings.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. But yeah, when you go in, if you go to the right, that's going to the Negro League Museum, literally. And if you go to the left, that's going to the Jazz Museum. And I've never gone to the left to go to the Jazz Museum, so I definitely want to check that out. Because I'll have time. You know, I'm feeling a little froggy. I'm feeling rejuvenated. I'm good. I'm really good right about now.
And
Again,
it's a good week. That's spring break week for me. So
okay.
I won't even.
Okay. And again, you know, life has its losses. It has its ups and downs. And right now, I'm on a nice up. And you know, God willing, the creek don't rise. I'll be able to continue this for quite some time. And you know, but the down to come, and that's okay. It's a part of life. Those ebbs and flows. But regardless of that, again, the biggest lesson, the biggest thing is how do we rebound and how do we move forward. So I'm grateful about learning those lessons in the past so that I can enjoy this ride for the now and you know again just keep it going as long as that going possible. You know, I'm still loving Atlanta and I am. I really am. I'm not put off by my choice to come here at all. Um, it's a lot of that's not true. Atlanta itself is small. The metro is huge, and trying to learn that is a lot to wrap my mind around. Now, there's sometimes when I just don't want to engage, and I'm just like, funk it. I'm just gonna stay in the house. That's why I live in the suburbs because I can do that. But there's other times where I'm like, okay, let me get in the city and grind it out, or another suburb and see what that life is all about. You dig? So, yeah, man, it's been good. I'm looking forward to the next move already. Yes, I know I just got here, but I'm already proclaiming that I will only be here until next year. And I'm okay with that. I am totally okay with that. People have asked me, you know, have you unpacked that? I'm like, nah, I don't even. The spirit honestly is telling me that I'm not going to be here that long. And or if I take another gig within my company, it will require me to travel a lot. So I'm not hard pressed to plow forward with all that unpacking foolishness and all that type jazz. I'm comfortable. It's just me. So while it is just me, I can get away with stuff like that. If I do add somebody else in my life whom occupies the same space at the same time, then maybe I gotta kick it up a notch and do something else. But until then, I'm going to enjoy being solo dolo, to be honest with you. I'm sorry, my nose is itching like a mofo, and I do not know why, but that's what it is.
Why do
Again,
I, Lee? Why do I have a vision of a mattress on the floor with the TV on the
nah,
with the
sis,
TV
yeah,
on milk
you,
crates and a
nah, your boy ain't living
side
like that,
table
man.
as a dining room
Nah,
table next to the
nah, nah. I'm not living like that now. But I do still have plenty of boxes, and I mean plenty of boxes that I have yet to go through, and that's okay. I have the things that I need, some of the things that I want. And if there's anything else that I need, I'll start opening up boxes and try to see if I have them. But I have my pots and my pans. I have my proper dining room table with proper chairs. I have my living room set up with my two couches properly. I have my bookcase set up with all my books. I believe all my books because there may be a couple of boxes downstairs still got books in them. Shh, don't tell nobody. I have a lot of books. Um,
yeah. Every time I look at the maymays of the dudes' videos and how the men set up they where the game is at the end of the bed
yeah, yeah.
and
Yeah,
and
I didn't do
just the
that.
quality of life. That's actually a running not joke but like a conversation being had
Right,
between what does it look like when a woman, even a trans, not the transient is not the right word, even a woman who like you said doesn't have a lot of or any children,
right,
or a woman living in a city away from her family, her apartment. If you just go down the line, single man, single woman, no kid woman, no kid man, regional, re, reasonable wage,
earner.
comparison,
Right, right,
earnings comparison, and then start looking at that her apartment versus his apartment.
right.
And yes, you see a lot of money, not wasted, because women consider their surroundings as part of their quality of life.
Right.
But and I'm not saying men don't. I'm just saying there's a lot more money that's
Mhm.
spent by women in order to alter their quality of life than men do.
You
But
think
yeah,
so?
yeah, I mean, the most expensive thing y'all buying is them rate them stereos that get y'all evicted.
You said this. Ain't nobody buying no stereos now no more, right?
The
No,
who men?
ain't nobody buying
I
no
say they buy the entertainment, what they call the
center,
entertainment
entertainment center.
center, yeah. And then they get
That
that
should be
big ass.
wild.
They get 4 or 5 big TVs, one for
Right.
the bathroom, one for the because they can't be without the TV. But the expensive thing is not the the couch. I know some
Mhm.
girls with a $2,000 couch that
Mhm.
you can't sit on it.
Mhm.
You can't. First of all, when
Without
you
the
try to
plastic.
sit, if you slide down to the floor, it ain't
Right.
the leather ain't tempered right or something. I don't know.
Mhm.
But the most expensive thing in men's houses are electronics. But the
Mm.
girl is not fit. She get her one big TV for her guests, and that one little one she brought home from college or grandma died or whatever. And even the idea of repurposing
Mm.
electronics and stuff like that, she don't mind. Now the dude asleep on a couch he found outside, and she won't. So it is.
That is not
I have seen plenty of men's apartments,
so much.
and they have the furniture. Let me tell you what the furniture they get. If somebody get put out
The
in the
dumpster diving.
complex, if anybody get put out on a block or within their complex, that's their new furniture.
Mm, mm, mm.
And it's probably legit. I'm not even arguing with it because it's fiscally smart. But then it I don't know many women willing to go shopping out of their neighbor's misfortune.
Right. Right. So
Uh,
Rodney
uh, but
Rodney has joined us this morning. He's sitting around like, I don't know what the hell they talking about because this ain't nothing supposed to be on the show. So Rodney, I had some difficulty getting into the show. It delayed us for a couple of minutes, and I actually had to switch from the laptop. And I have this beautiful camera. I was going to debut the camera. You were going to be able to see me all clear and all kinds of stuff. That didn't work. So I had to switch to the daggone phone just so I wasn't killing even more and more time. So then I started it on the rant. So we're bringing that to an end. before we go into the show. Ladies and gentlemen, trust me, we're not just going to talk about BS all day long. There's some very serious things that we need to dig into, but this is where we are. But yeah, Rashi, like dumpster diving in your 20s is well, it's not. It's okay, I guess, because you're in your 20s. You don't know any better. You're trying to conserve your dough. Your main thing is I have a place to live that I can call my own, and I can see that, But once you hit your 30s, 40s, yeah, that ain't so cool. Now, I am not opposed to used furniture. I found that in many cities there are places that sell used furniture because they rent it to corporations for their rental homes, or they rent it to builders when they stage homes. And then eventually, once they've rented it enough or whatever, they sell it. And I'm not opposed to doing that at all. I don't have anything like that here, but I'm not opposed to doing anything like that at all. You know what I'm saying? Actually, I have two very large chairs. They cool, man. I'm telling you, you see them, you be like, bro, where the hell you get those from? And I guarantee you spent the mint. Yo, I was actually driving in Southern Maryland and rolled past this cat who buys furniture from estate auctions, and he got them from the estate auction, cleaned them up, did all the due diligence to repair them. Man, he sold them jokers for $30 a piece. I clipped them things so damn fast it made my head spin. And one day, again in Southern Maryland, I'm driving by, and one of my Latino homies, he was selling some high chairs, and he sold me all four high chairs for $60. He said, "Bro, it's just you?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, $60. I said, "Dang it, $60 a piece." He said, "Nah, bro, you can have all four of them for $60." That, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, but other than that, no, everything's fresh and new, stuff like that. But nah, I'm look, I'm not opposed to saving a dollar where I can, but I'm not going to be that daggone cheap and just save a dollar just to save a daggone dollar. I'm beyond that in years now, honestly. You know, because if all else fails and I'm that broke, I just call Rodney Smith. What's up, Rodney? How you doing, bro?
Good morning, everybody. I'm
How
doing
you doing?
well. I could use a little more sleep, but otherwise, I'm doing good. How about
Awesome,
you all?
awesome, 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 awesome. I gave the in memoriams to Dwayne Wiggins this morning and Roy Ayers this morning. Definitely wanted to acknowledge them first off before we got into everything else. But again, their impact on the culture is forever lasting. God willing, the creek don't rise. So I definitely wanted to acknowledge those young men before we got into our thing. There's been a number of things that happened this week, Rashi Rodney, that have put the Inspector Gadget cap on me, if you will. One of those things was outside of Trump's speech to Congress. He specifically went after Perkins Co. And I was like, why is he going after Perkins Co? And I'm like, what the hell is that about? Then it hit me. I was like, yo, why does that name ring in my head? So these were the cats that commissioned the ex-British intelligence officer to look into Trump's dealings with overseas businesses, a la the Steele dossier back in, what was that? That was 2017. That's when the dossier was presented to the world. And he's going after these cats again in this retaliatory measure because he can, which brought to mind all the other things that he's been talking about along the way. And just again, how I can only say it one way, how childish this guy is in his approach to everything as president of the United States of America. How childish he is to those who oppose him, which he should welcome. You should want dissenting voices as a leader to make sure that you have all the information so that you're making the best decision. He's going after those whom he deems less powerful than he. He's going after anybody and everybody that he feels had something to do with him being brought to justice, but he's calling himself a law and order dude. I get it. I get it. But it's very sad to see. It's very sad to see. Rodney, you said this, I think, last week, maybe the week before last. One of the additional titles of the President of the United States, which is, but I shouldn't say title, I should say moniker of the President of the United States, is leader of the free world. And this cat has definitely thrown that away, just totally. He's not a leader at all, and he dang sure don't want us to be free. If it does not mesh with what he wants to do, he don't want it to happen. He doesn't even want to talk about it. He wants to squash it. So as I'm watching and I stayed up to watch the address. Don't know if you all did or not, but I did. I watched okay, Rodney, I see you did. But I did. I stayed up and I watched every minute of it. Every minute of it. From before he walked in to as he was walking out. I watched the Democratic rebuttal, which I think the young lady did a very good job on the Democratic rebuttal. Um, but I'm watching this whole thing, and it he comes across like he's really playing up for the cameras. If you look at him, if you look at his cadence of speech, if you look at where he pauses, if you look at his mannerisms, everything looks like it's for the camera. It's not like he's engaging. It's not like he's trying to reach and grab the people and get the people to understand where he's at. It seems like everything is set up so that he gets good ratings, not that he makes good decisions or he makes great decisions. So it was painful for me to watch that, to be honest with you, because I could almost clock when he was going to abruptly stop and turn to the right and then swing back to the left. And the face that he was, I mean, everything. It was like, man, this dude is just, yeah. And again, I am fiercely independent. Just don't think he was the right choice. I don't think he was of the choices that we had, I don't think he was the right choice. And for those whom thought that he was, and they are now on the unemployment line, I wish to know how they feel about their choice now. I saw a CNN story right before we came on that was addressing exactly that. I actually reposted it to our Facebook page. But is it worth it? Is that one issue worth throwing everything else out the window? Is that one or two issues worth the harm that not only can fall upon you and your family, but hundreds, thousands of other Americans and their family? That those are the questions that we will be asked some years from now. Those are the questions that will continue to be answered not only in the now but also some years from now. And I'm wondering what people are going to do, not just in the midterm, but in the next election. If there are, as Rodney always reminds me, more elections. Because the way that they are setting this thing up, we may never see an election. We may very well never see an election again. Again, this cat is bent on having power, staying in power, and he has the pieces that can keep him in power. The question is, will they assist him in staying in power eternally, or until he decides that he just wants to pass it on to somebody else? And does that happen? Does that happen? Is if after he's gone and he wants to leave or he chooses to leave, whatever, is he then allowed to just pass it on to whomever he wants to pass it on to? Is that what we become after Trump 2.0? I don't know. I don't know. Rodney, what did you all talk about yesterday at the gathering?
We talked about the non-State of the Union address a little bit. We talked about the implications of getting rid of DEI. And for those who didn't believe there was one for Black people, I suggested that they talk to General C.Q. Brown.
Mm,
Uh, we talked about the idea that the mayor of DC is removing the Black Lives Matter um, moniker off the street between the church at the intersection. I thought that was huge. We talked about that 45 says if you protest against him, like George Floyd's uprising, that he would denaturalize you. Uh, we also talked about Elon Musk pushing for the POTUS to pardon the murderer of George Floyd. Uh, that was huge, and we asked the question on how would we conduct ourselves if a fully clad Klans person sit down at your table with your family. How would you conduct yourselves? And the same thing for someone dressed up in World War II Nazi clothing, garb, if they came down to your table where your family was and talked their talk, how would it impact? Uh, how would it impact us? And then we gave some. It was the third anniversary of us being at WSO, so Sister Julia brought in a cake, and we celebrated our third anniversary at WSO. So those were the topics that we hit on, and one of the biggest ones though was how to how do we feel about him pardoning the guy that killed George Floyd, that he takes away our First Amendment rights and says he would denaturalize us for expressing those First Amendment rights when denaturalization isn't even one of his powers right now. Right now. So we just delved into those things.
Yeah, it was an interesting talk, Brother Rodney. Yes, a few days ago. It was not something new he done. You seen him stand up and he's stupid, they're a lie, nobody cares, nobody loves me. He's done that before. But what we saw that maybe we haven't seen often, Brother Rodney, is the resistance. A visual, because everybody's asking, what are y'all gonna do? What are y'all? And a lot of it is what they call it performative. Yeah, performative. But it is any action at all, right? Standing up and saying this is a lie, and you are not, pretty much doing like I asked you over the week what they did to Obama, right? Whether it was true or not, somebody said this is a lie.
I think it was Joe Wilson.
Joe Wilson. And so when you get people willing to stand up, and I wasn't particularly, happy about them doing that to Obama, but at least It was it was visual resistance to what people say. If you don't have any resistance to your regime, it's not. It's actually a dictatorship. The only people who are running the show and get and you can't see it and you won't see any pushback or feedback are either from extremely small populations where they have it's stay together as a common theme or perish, or the leader is squashing and oppressing any resistance uh behavior. So to be able to actually see resistance to me is so powerful, from either side, but to see them say, look, we're standing up, we're walking out, we're going to try to step it back instead of screaming, you lie. Well, at least most of them did. One of them had, I guess he didn't get the memo or didn't get one of the little
Representative
church.
Green.
Mr. Green didn't get one of the church fans. So he just stood up and screamed. But everybody else had a black church fan. And so, but to say this is a lie, resist, Elon is a thief, stop the chaos or whatever the fans were saying. That to me was, at least for children, because children often get assigned State of the Union addresses and things like that for a civics assignment or for social studies or world history assignments. So it was more than just formative for some. It was how to teach children how to resist against the government in a way that can get them in trouble, as they saw with Green, and can't get them in trouble, as they saw with all the women in pink and all the church fans that people was carrying.
So,
So what?
Sister Rod, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Rodney.
I just wanted to say that what you said, the Democrats were weak. And not only were they weak, they're weak in their colors of pink, even though it is Women's History Month. And big shout out to all the women in the world, especially those who are losing their rights and about to lose their rights in this country. But here's the other side of that. The Republicans held a vote to censure Al Green, Congressman Green.
I was about to ask that question.
He was not doing anything that Marjorie Taylor Greene or Lauren Boebert were doing, except he was being truthful. And to for them to do that would be expected. What I did not expect, and which was disappointing and disheartening, was the Democrats who
Sided with
voted for his censure along with the Nazis. And that is a problem. And it made the Democrats look like they were not organized, their leadership was weak, and to be quite frank, it made them look weak. And if they think that those types of tactics are going to get the House, I'm not saying people potentially can be so frustrated, upset, and harmed that they could finally decide to vote in their best interest and vote, period, for those who couch surfed the last time. I'm just not convinced of that yet. And I think the people still every day need to tell the Democrats and whatever nonpartisans that are pro American people need to call and write them every day to tell them to go to Amazon and order them a spine and do it. Well, we're boycotting Amazon right now. So once this boycott is over,
Wait a little bit. Wait a little bit.
Well, stop doing the Timu and getting one. That's all they need to do.
Now, I was going to ask that very question. How did you feel about the Democrats joining in with the Republicans to censure Representative Green? Now, to your point, Rodney, about the spine, you are absolutely right. This is this is not the time for the Democrats to play like the Democrats of old. Again, I don't understand what the hell they're thinking, but this moral high ground is not where they need to be right now. They need to be in the mud with these Republicans, beating them at their own game. And as they then stack victories, then they can start to slide back or move back to the moral high ground. But until then, the country is still reacting very heavily off and over this America First rhetoric. And that, look, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with you feeling like the home team is the greatest team in the world. However, the facts are the fact. The reality is the reality. Be it they are the greatest team in the world or not, or they're not. You know what I'm saying? Some things are not up for opinion. Some things are facts. And with us doing the things that we did coming out of the 60s into the 70s and especially in the 80s, what I mean by that is mainly moving manufacturing out of America because it was cheaper, chasing dividend return versus chasing or awarding Americans for their hard work. And a lot of that not only was racist, yes it was, but it was also aimed at gutting unions because manufacturing jobs no usually went union at some point and folks didn't want to pay these they're not communists, these capitalists wanted to skip out on paying their workers what they deserved. They wanted to skip out on negotiating for fair wages and or other fringe benefits for their employees. They wanted to do the most anti-American thing. They didn't want to take care of their own. So why now do the Democrats believe that they can win off of being totally American pie-ish? It's not going to work. Get in there, slap some people around, have some people fall on the sword, just like the Republicans do. Snatch victory from the jaws of defeat and move on. And that's what it's going to take, and that's what they need. They need a spokesperson. Now, I was watching Morning Joe the very next morning, and Joe started off with, why are the Democrats not finding someone who can speak to the anger of America, yet still reaffirm them that the better way is to believe in the American dream, not to take all of this apart, not to break apart our belief in democracy, but to harden it up, firm it up, but still talk to the reality of folks out here are ticked off. They want some change and initialize some real change. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. There are plenty of opportunities, I so believe, for us to initiate change in and or out of government. But we cannot do those things blindly or with a machete, chainsaw, or whatever, like these cats are looking for us to do right now. Because that's what they're looking for us to do. They're looking for us to come in. They're looking to come in with the Elon's chainsaw to just hack away. And that's not the way. That's not the way to get us to where we want slash need to be. The way to get us to where we want to be is to sit down, have all parties involved come together, get in a room and work it out. What really makes sense? How can we get there? What do we need? What do we need to sacrifice in order to get there? And those things should not happen in a bubble. Those things should not happen in a manner in which folks are losing their jobs one day and 3 days later, oh snap, we shouldn't have fired them. Would you like to come back to work? Who gonna do that? So you can fire me again? So you can have me telling you every day or every week 5 things that I did during that week. So you can build a database so that you can go out, teach your folks, train your folks up on the things that I do so they can come in and take my damn job. How does that work? So you can implement AI to do the things that I do because you see them as repetitive tasks. So then you start building your AI platform to come in to supplement me. How does that work? How does that make sense? But then I get into it today because, doing my bit. The Army is facing a crisis, not world shattering, but it's still facing a crisis. So right now, they're unable to keep a quarter of their recruits beyond the first 2 years of their enlistment. A quarter of their troops beyond the first 2 years of their enlistment. Why? Because a number of folks have to get a waiver. There's some waivers that are okay. If you have flat feet, for instance, you may need to get a waiver for that. But there are other waivers that folks have to go through or are going to go through. Let's say you're a couple of pounds over the weight limit and you get a waiver to come in saying that in 6 months you're going to lose the weight, you'll stay slim and trim, boom, boom. Okay. Not Again, not too bad of a deal. The issue is though, a lot of these, again, a quarter of those folks are not able to maintain the contract that they sign on top of their contract. And we're looking at there's an estimated 23% of the population between 17 and 24 that are eligible for military service first and foremost. Then you downgrade that to roughly 8% of that are eligible to come in on a clean enlistment. What does a clean enlistment mean for those of you that never served? A clean enlistment means that you come in without a waiver. You can pass the ASVAB, you can pass the background check, you can pass the drug test, all those things you pass straight up and straight out, and you're fine. Anything else is not a clean enlistment. Anything When you get a waiver, that's not a clean enlistment because you had to get a waiver in order to get in. Let's say you have a tattoo that is placed in a place that you shouldn't have put it, but the military says, well, we kind of need people. That's not a clean enlistment, right? And some of those things can change at any moment, meaning specifically your tattoos, your piercings, hell, your height weight requirement. The next president, the next secretary of state can come in and say, I ain't feeling that. I want everybody to look like this or to be able to do that. So some of those things can change at the drop of a dime, and you need to be ready for those things. But I said this a couple of weeks ago. I said, yo, they're trying to tank the economy, not only for privatization, but they want militarization. They want folks to have no other choice but to have to join the military. No other choice. Think about it. Now think about this, Rodney, because you came in at a very sweet spot. You actually have a retirement. You don't have, and correct me if I'm wrong, full-fledged TSP. You have an actual retirement. And think of the way these cats are coming at everything. Do you not think that they may even cut out TSP? And for those who are not aware, TSP is sort of kind of in a way like the military's version of 401k. It's a mixture of a retirement and you still invest, and they do some things for you with your money, and so you can draw from that as well whenever you retire. So go ahead.
So a couple of things. One is you said, I just wanted to make sure you understood. You said 23% are
Of
eligible
eligible,
enlistees.
yep,
Okay,
17 to 24.
the reason why I clued in on that is because some years ago I worked with the Army Recruiting Command, and I guess that was probably roughly 7 years ago. And at that point, it was 29%. So roughly 7 years ago, it went from the data you just gave this morning, it went from 29% down to 23% in
Almost
almost,
almost a percentage point per year. Correct.
right. Well, at that trajectory,
Correct.
that is not sustainable.
Not at all.
Uh, but there's a reason for it. Now, the other thing that you talked about is with the retirement. My son is in service, and he just went over his 10-year mark. He does have TSP, but he also still has his retirement. My retirement's not any different.
Okay.
So they get TSP, and at least when he came in, he still gets retirement. But here's the question I have for the audience, as well as you two. Should should people who believe that this country is headed in the wrong direction and is being taken over by authoritarian, who's talking about sending troops to Gaza to do ethnic cleansing, No, instead of making it a question, I'm gonna make it a statement. Young people need to find other means of employment today who do not support the authoritarian takeover of the United States. They need to find other employment outside of the United States military. And to be quite honest, they also need to look at employment outside of the federal government. And that needs to be the civilian protest, not join the military to carry out ethnic cleansing and genocide and whatever other crazy ideas a tyrant would have. And maybe where they can, they should look at not serving in the federal government at all,
Mm.
and in local governments, state governments, city government, county government that are against the people of this country, they should look at not serving. That is one of the greatest and most powerful protests that the people can make is we will not allow you to use our lives, our bodies to do harm to others, including this country.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Rashi, Rashi, you have a son of a certain age. What do you see the future prospects for him with respect
Mm-hmm.
to
What Mr. Rodney is.
employment or other opportunities look like?
Well, I'm actually listening to Mr. Rodney. I realized my son and him must have be simpatico because my son chose alternative training instead of engineering like his father. He's going into graphic design and artistry, and he's pretty much like the old Renaissance dudes back in the day. He's someone you can commission to do work. He's capable of working on a project with other children, especially if it talks to community uh, beautification and stuff like that. And so I'm excited. And more importantly, he don't have a pre-set out plan worked out from somebody else for him. He very much sat down and found what he likes to do, and he's going to start his education, his employment and education journey past high school with the arts. And I can understand it. He grew up in a household of art. I went to a performing arts school myself, not for the kind of arts he does, though. I can't even, Mr. Rodney, I can barely hold a pencil upright. If you ask me to draw a bird, it'll look like the letter V with the long arms. You know what I'm talking about. And so he does not have any whatsoever intention of being a military person under Donald Trump's regime. And he would be who they looking for. He's 17, he'll be 18 in July. So right, and he has graduated from high school, not with an alternative degree, with honors. You understand? So he's somewhat who they looking for, Mr. Rodney Lee. Because he's not illiterate. He's a literate gentleman. So they take him on. They'll take who you are. They especially take you if your brain is suited just to hold and point and shoot. But they prefer they prefer literate enlisters. I'm pretty sure, right? They prefer, or they wouldn't put you through educational and physical boot camp.
Right.
And so I feel like my son would have been had we been having a president who respected young life. I'm one of them people, brothers, who believe that young people should give the country 2 years of their life, and
Okay.
and they have kind of put that on him as in the form of community service hours as part of his eligibility to graduate, right?
Right.
So but that's not I mean, that's cool, cool. You know what I'm saying? That's cool too. But I'm talking about you need to serve either in the military or you need to work at an old folks' home so you understand the reality, or for Parks and Rec. I think it would be excellent for young people to have to enlist in the National Park Rangers type thing and get to know the country that they hopefully stay in, you know. But no, he does not have anything. He don't have an internship at engineering firm. He doesn't have the closest we get is he has already been coveted at an art school, and they have a program where he's going to spend the summer. He's going to do, instead of a gap year, he's going to do a intense, what they call it, when you go immediately into school in the summertime, not in the fall. He'll be going to college this summer
Okay.
in a program where they get them in over the summer, and so
A boot camp?
they already live there, and they when the enrollment stuff roll around, hell, they already there chilling.
Right.
uh I don't know when the program started, but I like it. Shoot, they don't want but $2,000, and I got half of that,
Hmm.
and I'm brokering that deal with his father, but he don't want that. He said he gonna make it on his art alone. That he said he think he can make his half of the. So what do you do with that energy? You don't have to worry about them being
You take
enlisted in somebody else's mission when they have the internal confidence to say, "I will generate the funds needed for my next step."
you you take that money from his father. You allow him to give you the rest of the money. You put that to the side because he'll be calling you in a month to 3 weeks asking you for soap and laundry detergent, stuff like that. But
He don't even want that. He said, "Can you come get these clothes and wash them?"
there you go.
It's
That's
really
what you
sad.
do. He'd be like, "Man, I'm tired of eating oodles and noodles and
he
Vienna
just
sausage. Let me get.
So
Can I
I'm
get about
excited, and
$20?
and more importantly, I'm about to be footloose and fancy free. Like, it has been 30 years. It's
Mm,
been 30 years since I have just been just me, just solo not that I won't be checking on my but I won't be intensely responsible for someone else's everyday existence.
there you go.
I
There you
would have I would have officially, as of this summer, held off my last baton to the person and let them know. I mean, I got you for everything but bail money, and if you hit somebody who didn't hit you, that's your ass, Mr. Postman, and stuff like that. But other than that, well, you're right. If you don't want to eat new news tonight, and I got your little $40, go on over to Cash App and let me send you this $40, because
there you go.
it's worth it. It's worth it just to see them try. So many uh, young people have the apathy, and this what I think is happening with y'all's enlistment. I ain't finna do all that. They ain't gonna do nothing. They not gonna take care of me. They not gonna. I'm not going to get that training. They not gonna hire me after they train me. I'm
Right,
not going over there to them people's country. I don't know them people. I don't even like that food.
right.
It is a apathy for what they have already mastered in a small reality, and so that's what I think we need to push. If you're around a young person, ask them stuff. Hey, have you had sushi? Let's go try it. Hey, do you
Ooh,
know? Do you know? Like push against just the four blocks and the hot fries and I mean, I can't explain it. It sounds like I'm being
no, no,
low
no,
key
no.
dog whistle racist,
Open,
but
open up your daggone, open up your world, because you are absolutely right. Folks get very comfortable in their small spaces, and they forget that the world is a huge place, and it truly is their playground if they so choose to allow it to be. Comfort is a wonderful thing, but does it often lead to progress? Normally, it does not. Usually, you're stuck in your circle or in your circumstance because you are very comfortable with it. Once you get uncomfortable, that's when you reach for a change. You know, no one likes to be or fight through everything. You try your daggone best to be as comfortable as you can. And again, when you're uncomfortable, you tend to seek out comfort, and comfort usually leads to innovation. So I get it. I totally get it.
And see, you only need one setback to make your. You can get a 10 wins. You can be, have your family intact. They don't see that as a win because the family's supposed to be intact. You
Mm,
can have a generally good, healthy body as a young person. They don't see that as a win. I'm young. I'm supposed to be healthy, and then you can have all these wins, but you get one setback. You apply for one internship that you really want. You wanted to be an astronaut. You applied to not NASA, but you don't know that you ain't really got. You're a good person in the head, so your heart's good, baby,
right.
but you're not cognitively processing at the speed they would need you to be if they wanted to be getting you into those early space programs. Them is motherfucking prodigies. Them people being graduated at 9 years old.
Mm,
So, but so they say no, right, Lee?
yep.
And then from there is this buildup of life apathy. I didn't get into that program. I'm not gonna get that girl. I'm not gonna go to that college. I'm not gonna. You understand? And it's just it's a cascade
But
of apathy, and that's why what used to be I'm gonna serve my country. If I don't do nothing else, I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna die for my liberty and country. They don't, man. They go find somebody under 25 years old talking about I'm gonna die for my they say I'm gonna get this what you just call it, the TSA. I'm gonna get this TPS, whatever you call it.
oh, the
I'm
TSP. Yeah,
I'm I'm gonna get
that's a
this
saving program.
I'm gonna get this TXP and come on up out of there. Okay,
Right.
so I while I still got my legs, so I can give me another job and still keep my money rolling.
Hmm.
That's the mindset of the enlistee now. It is not I'm gonna give my life for this country. So, hey, it's not just y'all, Lee. The new people who enroll in college, people who enrolled in college back in the day would be like, "We the red and blue, we the crimson pride, we the mighty fighting fucking wild dogs or whatever." Whoever the school is, they came to bring their best and to develop themselves under some of the best mentors they would enroll for,
Right.
some of the best programs. Man, them kids come in now talking about if I don't come up in here, my grandma gonna put me out.
Mm.
They enrolling now so that they can actually get the money that go with the job they've been having this whole time. They got in on the entry level. They never mastered up. So now they got to come back and get their, masters instead of the bachelors and all them advanced certificates. It doesn't, but they don't have pride in the school. It's the closest one with the program they need to get their paycheck popping.
And the cheapest. But look, I want to go on into the speech, but I wanted to break where you were going because you said something about prodigies and the space program. SpaceX had a launch failure just the other day, and as I watched that rocket explode, I thought about the millions and millions of U.S. taxpayer dollars that just went up in flames because we are still subsidizing the SpaceX program and Elon Musk. And I don't think Elon is looking for that change in the cushions at all when it comes to that. But uh, continue on to Trump's speech just the other day. There were a number of total falsehoods, half truths, whatever you want to call them, that he espoused while he was up on the stage. I listed a couple of them, and jump in anytime, anybody, as you speak. Morning, Brother Barry. You're on mute, just to let you know when you came in, you were on mute. Um, Mike being changed into transgender. I don't know where the hell they get some of this stuff from, but that is 100% false. The money being spent to support Ukraine, he claimed it was 350 billion. It's more along the lines of 180 billion. And a good clip of that is being spent right here in America as we ramp up our munitions production to ship over to Ukraine to help them defend themselves against Russia. The fact that he cited that fentanyl from Canada had killed thousands when there was a total of 43 pounds of fentanyl seized crossing from Canada into the United States, which is roughly 0.02 I'm sorry, 0.2% of all fentanyl that is in the country, that folks believe to be in the country. Uh, the Social Security claims really got me. And when you're standing there saying that folk were still receiving Social Security payment at 150 to 159 years old, there were 1.3 million people on the roll still receiving Social Security payments there. There was 130,000, this is his claim, 130,000 folks over 160-year-old still on the Social Security docket and receiving payment. Did some digging. Social Security immediately stops payment to anyone 115-year-old or older. Once you turn 115 in their system, payments are immediately stopped. What happens though is, regardless of how old you are, you still stay in the system. That does not mean you're getting a check. It just means that you're in the system. So while there may be some folks that enrolled in Social Security 150 something years ago, hard to believe because I don't even think the Social Security Administration been around that long. Has it been around that long? No, hadn't even been around that long. But they may have been older when they enrolled in the system, so that's possible. They're not getting benefits. They're not getting benefits. But for folks to eat that up, to believe in that, you know, Brother Barry, again, I got to go back to you. You said it. You said it. You said it. You repeated it. You said it. Rodney, I think you're moving around a lot because we're getting a lot of feedback from you, bro. Could you put yourself on mute until you're settled? I thought you were settled, so I took you off of mute. Um, you said that these jokers play the analytics, and they play the analytics big time. That that bro, the more they say stuff, the more it's retweeted, the more it's retweeted, reshared, whatever, the more they say it. And the more they say it. And it's gotten us to a place where folks remember the first and the last thing that they heard. The fact that they keep saying this stuff is the thing that folks remember. And folks are so lazy that they're unwilling to do their own research. So they keep spitting these falsities as if they're truths because that's all they want to hear. And because they are emotionally charged, because they are emotionally engaged, they're good. It's fact. It got to be fact. If it wasn't, why would they say it? Why would they say it? Again, sound like Trump. Don't know. Why would they say? Everybody knows. Who the hell is everybody? You're the president of the United States of America. Who's everybody? Who's everybody? You are everybody, Doc. You are the president of the United States of America.
Mhm.
You should be behaving like The Rock because I said so. That's it. You don't have to come with everybody said. Everybody knows it. Everyone says it. Who the hell is everybody? That yo, every time he says that, it gets under my skin. Every time he says that, every time he goes that way, it gets to my skin. The payments from the pay. I'm sorry, the payments. Listen to me. The payments from FEMA for the sheltering of immigrants was voted on by Congress. They keep saying, they being the Republicans keep saying, not all of them, certain Republicans, let me correct myself. Certain Republicans keep saying that these things are fraud. But why are they fraud if they were voted on and it's law and it was um, Congress controls the purse, so it was funded. If they are claiming it to be fraud because they disagree with the program. They disagree with the vote. But it's not fraudulent. There was an actual vote. There's an actual law. See, that's this thing that we're supposed to do in this country. When we have this course, we're supposed to get together and figure out which way we're going to go. Once we figure that out, we write this little thing. It's called a law. It's just a bill sitting on the steps of Capitol Hill. I'm simply a bill. And that's supposed to be taken up, brought to the floor, discussed, go back to committee. They hash it out, bring it back to the floor for a final vote. If it doesn't, you go back to committee, you hash some more things out, final vote, and it moves on to the next chamber of Congress, the Senate. The Senate takes it up on the floor, do their bit, go back to committee, come out, final vote. If the two mesh, becomes law, moves on. It doesn't, they hash it out again between the two chambers, goes back, vote, boom, 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 goes to the president, he or she signs it, it's law. That's how this thing's supposed to work. So all these things that Trump is trumpeting, sorry, I had to go there, are executive orders. Executive orders are not laws. They are momentary measures. If they were laws, then he wouldn't be doing as many as he needs as he's doing right now in order to undo the ones that were passed by the previous administration, by the Biden administration.
Mhm.
He wouldn't be doing that. So all this touting and chest bumping and pounding and no, you are using your power the way that it was designed to be used. You can tell your administration what they should or should not focus on. That is your power as the executive. That's fine. But that doesn't mean that that's law. That means that's the direction that you want them to focus. It's like a football team. There's a 3-4 defense, there's a 5-3 defense. Depending on what players you draft, whatever scheme you decide to run with your team, you draft players to fit into that scheme. That doesn't mean it's always going to be that way. That doesn't mean they will only play in that scheme. Because if they leave your team and go to another team, they're going to have to adapt to another team, another scheme. West Coast offense and regular smash mouth offense. West Coast offense was shotgun, run and gun. You throwing that thing 40, 50 times a game. That's what you're doing. That's a West Coast offense. Smash mouth offense, you're gonna run the ball, you're gonna pound it in their damn throat, and every now and again you're gonna soften up the defense with a pass. Neither one is infinite if that player moves along to another team. Same with these executive orders. None of them are infinite because when the next president comes in, he or she has the right to change it and move on or move the country in a different way. To listen to this guy, to listen to his supporters, never check him. That's dangerous. That is a complete and direct danger to our democracy. I don't even know if we can really call what we're living in right now a democracy. But the fact that the courts have been skewed toward his philosophy, both chambers of the House, both chambers of Congress obviously are aligned with his philosophy. Obviously, he is the head of the philosophy, and he is willing to fire, embarrass, or otherwise punish anyone whom is against his philosophy. Now, I'll put you back on, Rodney. I'll unmute you now. Now, what are we going to do to address the current situation that we're in? What are we going to do to make sure that the country stays whole after and during this guy's presidency? How are we going to resist this insurgence of leeches? Because they're leeches. Again, I keep telling you, this is all about stealing. This is grift. Grift at the highest level. These mugs are looking to get paid on all of our backs. On all of our backs. How do we stand up, and show out for the democracy that we claim to live under and for the rights that we all should cherish? Brother Barry, how you doing? What's your thoughts?
My thoughts is that I've said this for a while, but playtime is over. You're saying that people are believing it, but I think people are just using the services that are reciting the information. They bought X. They've gotten Zuckerberg to fall in line. So they got you with Instagram and they got you with Facebook. They have gotten Bezos to fall in, and now they got you with the Washington Post. They already own Rupert Murdoch. And even he's talking, but he understands the animal that he's created. So it's just a lot with this process because people have all contributed to this monster. And the reality of it is Americans just don't like civics and history. And that's part of the problem. We've got a lot of people talking about their rights, but they don't know what their civic duties are. And that's where that's where it's at. So how do you fight for something that you don't even know what you have? How do you fight for something when you don't even know your rights? We think we have the right to enjoyment and pleasure. That's what this is all about. People are addicted to pleasure, entertainment, and leisure. And unfortunately, in this moment here, you have to give all those things away to fight. And are you willing to sacrifice those things to stand up? Because that's what it boils down to. And I'm laughing about the situation with the astronauts because he's reciting a lie. I'm laughing about him telling people that it was Biden who started this trade deal with Mexico and Canada when it was his. He was bragging about it in 2019. All of a sudden, now it belongs to someone else. And so he's a liar. And that's just what it boils down to. But I will say this last point, the hate for the LGBTQ plus community is supporting a lot of his followers. And I'll say it again. That community has to start speaking up too. Because do we really need transgenders in sports? It's a common conversation. We should all agree that we don't need no men playing in no women's sports, no boys playing in no girls' sports. That's common. That shouldn't have been allowed to have legs to begin with. That by saying no to that should have been no threat to the Democrats to lose no funding to do any of these things. So to me, it's common sense, but they own the propaganda machines. They own the propaganda machines. I just saw a report when I got off the air that Joy Reid actually was growing in her in her viewership. She was doing better than Rachel Maddow. But the Democrats lie too, and they spread misinformation too. And that's part of the problem. Part of the problem is that as Black folks, we're the ones stuck having to tell the truth, and then we're scared to do it. We play games. We normalize the insanity. So I just, from my perch, I'm like, well, just fuck it. When does the fire start? No, I'm serious because I've I feel like being on, you know, I feel like this is a conversation that's kind of been brewing for the past 30 years of my life. And now everybody's arrived at the point where I've already arrived to. And I'm kind of I'm almost at a point where I'm tired of having a conversation because I don't want to have to now we got to catch you up. And then catching you up to do what? What are you willing to give up? And nobody's willing to give up anything. And that's really what this is about. What are you willing to give up? Here's a man who has an abundance of everything. Everybody with him has an abundance of everything. To tell kids they don't need cancer treatment, to get rid of the Board of Education, to cut veterans out of their benefits
or their jobs.
or their jobs, attack Social Security. People to put in pay. I mean, if the American people ain't pissed, which I don't, as I said this morning, these kids went ape shit for Palestine. Where you at for your own education, your own rights? When they're targeting your schools for protests, I mean, damn, nuck if you buck. Did they nuck? I'm just asking. I'm asking for all of the people that were pro-Palestine and saying there wasn't nobody talking about it. Now that it's your rights that's on the line, nuck if you buck. Where they at? You seen them talking, Lee?
I ain't seen them.
You see them on
Brother Bear,
campus saying
Brother
anything.
Bear.
Now, hold on, Sister Rashi. For the lesbian sisters, I hope you get your wish. Now you get to show us that you is as strong as these men are. Oh, y'all about to get it. All that shit y'all been talking these past weeks, everybody's about to get it. Nuck if you buck. And what you gonna find out is those black men that everybody talks shit about, guess who everybody got to depend on? Because we're the only ones that's gonna nuck if we buck. When we get mad, we gonna tear some shit up. When y'all get mad, you gonna talk shit. And that's the point. But if you've been black, male in this country, you've been feeling this way for quite some time. Nobody had to push you here. Nobody had to push you here. You felt this way for a long time. Now I'm glad everybody else, welcome to our hell. Now let's see if Bell Hooks and the rest of those fools you was listening to got some dissertation that'll get you further. That's where I stand on it.
Go ahead, Rashi.
I wanted to ask Brother Barry, because I hear your call to those who are active right now, those who are in the moment. This is their present reality. What say you to those who are like Mr. Rodney? Well, he's still active, right? So, because he has his own mission of food, the feeding the people, and he does his he's still active. But what say you to people of Mr. Rodney's age genre and maybe even a little older, definitely older, because Mr. Rodney's still in his 60s. What do you say to them while they sitting there watching The Price is Right? You don't think the ones who did the original fighting, you don't think they are now primed to move the needle in the ways that they do? They definitely got time to write their congressman. They got time to call. They have
Right.
time to roll up into the steps of the Capitol. Why are we asking so much of the young
Why
and
should we?
not of the older
Wait,
generation?
wait. Hold up. We gonna ask other people that's already made the sacrifice. Rodney the one
Yes.
passing. Hold on, Rodney the one passing out food. Ain't nobody passing out food to Rodney. Rodney ain't supposed to be doing this at his age. See, that's what I'm
No,
talking.
yes, he
The
is.
elder, no, he is not. Rodney is at a point where he should be taking his foot off the gas. He should be taking his foot off the gas. The elders are supposed. Al Green was not supposed to have to do what Al Green did. by himself. He's not supposed to have to. Young people are supposed to stand up at the time of war. They got the energy for it. They got the stamina for it. Elders are for counsel. We're asking the people who are supposed to be counseling to fight and get on the battlefield. That shows that we don't understand war. Donald Trump ain't fighting nothing. He ain't fighting nothing. Come on, he eat too much McDonald's to fight. What he's doing is he's leading intellectually. He's going to have younger people carrying out what it is that he wants. They didn't. Hey, Lee, what's the average age of the people from DOGE that walked in with the laptops that's flipping shit over? Are they Rodney's age or are they 18-year-olds?
18-year-olds.
Okay, all right. Somebody dumb enough to figure it to just do what you're told.
Yeah, that's it. Young, dumb, full of.
Because that's what you need with your soldiers. You don't need your soldiers to think. You need them to just do what they're supposed to do, right? You do
Yep. That's why they recruit young.
Okay, so where's our young ones at? Where's the ones that's countering it? See, we ain't asking that question because they too busy. Listen, we've normalized the TikTok dances with the old mamas and the kids listen, get your ass off TikTok and get into you fought for Palestine. The 70-year-olds weren't fighting for Palestine. That was our young people. They're attacking them on college campuses. Tomorrow, Rashi, belongs to them. If the planet belongs to them, why won't they stand for it?
I'm trying to express a time issue. You and I, we have a legacy we have to prepare for. But you, me, and Lee, we have children and grandchildren that and Mr. Rodney as well has already pushed a lot of that time in and did what he felt was best for his children and set them off in a certain. Now he has time. He has time to feed the least of thee. He has time to disseminate information. He has time. He has time. And you and I got to clock, at least me, I got to clock in on Monday. And so the reason why I'm feeling like we are losing ground for not using our elder population for the work, some of the work. Yeah, when you, in fact, when they signed on for the work, Brother Barry, I'm pretty sure when they sat them down in those old civil rights meetings, or even if you go all the way back to the Renaissance, it's some Renaissanceans alive. They told them that our upliftment was a lifelong journey. That we would die if you joined the cause of Black liberation and understanding. You die in the cause. You die pushing that theory until your last breath. And I want to know why we're not asking our elders to keep pushing the cause.
Well, can I jump before half a second? I agree with Thomas that, and I agree with you, Rashi. They should die in the cause, but they shouldn't have to die on the front lines. They should be the folks that are advising those on the front lines, the younger folks, those our ages and younger, on what to do in order to make things happen. We have to have the brain trust there that is mixed with the wisdom and help so that you and energy to help you guide your energy so that hopefully one day you can also have that degree of wisdom. So, I've said this a number of times. I'm trying to get out there so that I can help support Rodney in the food movement. That is really my goal. Now, if Texas comes up first, then I'll move to Texas. But my goal is to go to Vegas. And there's a guy out there whom is close to retirement, and I think he's going to retire sooner rather than later. If he does, then that's where I want to move to, so that I can help Rodney. But we're not using them wisely, Rashi, because I don't think enough of us know how to approach him. But I also put the onus on our elders as well, because I don't think enough of them believe in us. So it's a situation where we have to communicate. Brother Barry said something on his show this morning. He said, "Why are there a number of us whom are a part of fraternal organizations or Masonic organizations, but we're not a part of African American liberation organizations? Why are you a a star, a Mason, a AKA, a blah 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 boom, but you're not a part of the NAACP, you're not a part of the Urban League, so on and so forth?" I think that was a very good question that the brother posed this morning. I be listening to you, brother Barry. I be there with you. I be rocking with you. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate
Um,
it.
Because of the
necessarily.
affiliation, Lee.
But I don't
When
think I
you
understand.
fall in with them Hellenics, you get jobs at they jobs. They one up they put they bootstrap each other. Hey,
Mm,
hey, my cut, on my job, and I want you to do this, put this on there, and then they submit it as a frat brother, as a frat sister, and then don't forget the Masons, they get each other them subcontractor jobs. But what do black liberation activists? How do we uplift each other? How do we get each other
Well,
in where we fit in?
well, I mean, I think the main thing is that those folks can be a part of it. I mean, what was Harry Belafonte? Like the idea that we act as if you got to say Black Power every 5 seconds to be a part of Black liberation. That's where the confusion comes in. At liberation is the forwardness of our folks. Like, why can't we're clearly fighting against white supremacy? If you didn't see the stage at the inauguration, and you didn't see Elon Musk, you didn't see Trump, you didn't see Zuckerberg, you didn't see Bezos, you didn't see all those billionaires who were white, Anglo-Saxon standing there, then you totally missed the point, and you're probably more in the way than helping out. That's part of the problem. You can't fight white supremacy with black inferiority. And a lot of our folks operate in inferiority complex as well as organizations that practice more inferiority thinking. This is what this is about. And nobody wants to state it, even when talking about Trump. If people were on television being honest, they would say that he's a white supremacist. That's why he had the issues with those 3 letters, DEI: diversity, equity, inclusion. He has a problem with the idea that there's going to be a diversity not in gender, not in class, but in race. He want white male dominant places with a few bleach blonde chicks in that he can kiss on at force, as he did while he was walking to the podium the other night. If anybody watched his perverted ways. But see, we are too coward to say what it is. Because if we said white supremacy and that's his role, then what's the counter to white supremacy? Black liberation. See, that's a tough role. Oh, you mean I got to be kind to all those Negroes I talk bad about? You mean I got to really try to figure out a way to uplift them and galvanize? And Rodney shouldn't have to feed people in Vegas. See, that's the cold part. That's the cold part about it. The cold part about it is brother's doing something that he should not have to do. And if he does have to do it, he shouldn't have to do it alone. That is the
that's why
cold.
he ain't get no sleep.
I mean, because the state of Nevada, the county that he's in, the city, they should be assisting that brother in feeding the citizens because that's their role as government. That's where the tax dollars go into. That's why I say people ain't fighting for it because they don't know what they're supposed to get out of the governance. It's not you get a $4,000 tax return and go on vacation. That's not what you're paying taxes for. Good roads, decency, good schools, low crime, lights. So I just feel like watching this situation with Trump and some of the things that he said this week, I'm just like, man, the Democrats made a mistake. They shouldn't have fought for Mike Johnson's job. That was a mistake. I don't care what anyone says. Mike Johnson is not a reasonable man.
But it wasn't for that.
Well,
Again, we've talked about this, and I never said this directly, but it wasn't for that. They saved his job because, again, they're going after this more high ground crap, dude. They want everybody um, to look at these jokers later on and say, well, if this is what you wanted, this is what you got. They're trying to play the moral high ground. That's not where they need to be. They need to be in the mud. You're right. They should have been like, nope, you ain't getting crap. We'll take this to a 20th vote if need be, and that's what we're gonna do. Um, but they didn't. They are too damn nice. They are too damn soft, and because of that, this is where we are. Again, I said it. I'll say it again. I respect what the Republicans do. I don't like it, but I respect it because them jokers know how to choose a path and go down that path, regardless of how many pieces they lose. They are going to charge all the way to victory. It may take them a long time, but they're going to stick to the plan and they're going to execute. The Democrats are too soft. They are wishy washy. They are concerned about everything and anything except for the real concerns of most Americans,
mm,
which is how are you going to improve the amount of money that I'm getting in my pocket so I can take care of myself and my family? That's object number one.
mhm.
After that, safety, security, food, safety, security, and all of those things come in line. But the number one thing, because of how these prices are set up, is how are you going to help me put more money in my pocket so I can take care of myself and my family?
But Lee,
And how are you going to help me protect my family? EPA, Food and Drug Administration, you name it. Okay. Then how are you going to help protect the country? Bye bye boom. Okay. Then all those other things that come along. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
but you would have to get a divorce from the corporations,
Yes.
and you would have to walk back the Clinton strong arm of the party.
Okay.
The Democrats have to stop with this centrist Democrat thinking. You are in this rut because of the oligarchs and the billionaires. I just saw a video with Warren Buffett that said he would not mind paying his fair share of taxes. And he believed if the top 400 corporations paid their fair share of taxes in this country, no citizen would have to worry about income tax. And he said he wrote a check for $5 billion last year, and he doesn't have a problem writing a check for more to make sure that this country is strong. And everyone else should want to do the same. And he's talking about the top 400 corporations. The Democrats have to have the courage to step to the podium and tell the American people what time it is. Now, I did hear some other things about Trump that I thought was kind of scary. I was told that a lot of the corporate folks like Target and other folks, they're not worried just about their corporations. They're worried that Trump will sick his sycophants on their families, and they're worried for their lives.
Mm,
And
mm,
that's something to think about, because me and Rodney always say it's a lot. he's a lot like Joe, and I ain't talking about Joe Biden.
mm,
In the following, if he could get his followers to take out these, think about the guy from United Healthcare that got murdered. Notice that conversation. We ain't really found out why that guy killed him. And they're not really asking, why did he kill him? That's not even a media story. Rodney, are you on mute? Are you talking? You on mute, brother?
No, I'm glad that you mentioned Joe from the following, because that's what we're seeing. And as I said on the show before, is once you take the military, you take the guns. And they're in the process of doing that from those who they don't want to have guns now. And then once they get the guns, then they get the people by force, the ones who don't comply. And a lot of those folks realize the trajectory of where we're headed is that it's attacks on people that's coming. And black people need to get up on it. They need to get some protection for themselves. But maybe one of the biggest things we need to do now is we need to push our elected, whoever they are, to have town halls and then go there, stand up, speak up, and then act up. And we need to hit repeat over and over again as we prepare for the inevitable sectarian violence that is coming. And history tells us that it's going to be no later than this summer, because that's traditionally when white people start killing black people in mass in this country. And they are positioned well to do that. And for all of the people who say that's not going to happen, well, we said Roe wouldn't happen. No one would attack our government. We said a lot of things wouldn't happen that has happened. And we need to expand our minds on the possibility of more egregious things happening. And if we follow history from authoritarian takeovers in you pick a country, violence is always the outcome. Violence, violence is coming unless we do something to change the trajectory of that. And black people are the ones most vulnerable.
Hmm. We have 10 minutes left in the show, so I wanted to get to Greenland. I definitely wanted to touch on that because he brought that up again. Tuesday in Greenland is election day. They have a general election coming up on Greenland. They're two different parties. I'm going to butcher them, but I'm going to try. Inuit and Pequot Inuit. That's the Democratic Socialist Pro-Independence Party. And then there's the Nalaqua. Yeah, Nalar
Glad
Party.
it's you and not me.
Look, I tried, right? And they are they're open to collaborating with the U.S. and thank you, brother Truck. Yes, Rodney is correct on that. Uh, they're open to collaborating with the U.S. and they're pushing for independence. Now, if you don't know, Greenland was ruled by Denmark until 1953, and they became an at that point they became an autonomous territory. But Denmark still pays for its defense and still guides a lot of the foreign policy in the country, for the country, I should say. So here they are going to the polls with Trump standing at the podium before Congress saying, Greenland, I hope you choose the right thing to do. And I hope the people there choose the right move for their future. Something to that. But I can't remember exactly what he said, but he sent the direct appeal to the people there to do the right thing. He wants Greenland. We need Greenland for our protection and world peace. I don't know where the hell that came from, but whatever. Lastly, from me, and then we'll turn to Brother Barry specifically. The Supreme Court voted 5-4 against the EPA, saying that it overstepped in its enforcement of the Clean Water Act. They were saying that the language in it is not specific enough, so they ruled for the city of San Francisco and against the people in a case in which San Francisco wanted to release raw sewage into the water there. The people lost, the city of San Francisco won. I want to keep our eyes on that one because that could have some real ramifications, not only in California, but around the nation in very short order. Brother Barry, if you could give us about 3 minutes of the Stephen A. and LeBron conversation as you understand it that happened just the other night.
Pretty simple. LeBron just told him to keep his son name out of the BS and to not be slandering his son on. Is Rodney talking?
No, he has no. He has himself on mute. I don't have him on mute.
Okay. So look, he confronted him on court side of the game, and kudos to LeBron. He takes a lot of abuse, and when people are talking about this idea of nepotism and his son, it's the irony that LeBron plays for the Los Angeles Lakers, who Jerry Buss owned, who he passed on to his daughter and his son, who does not have any business acumen outside of inheriting a business from their father. 40% of the players in the league are legacy players, which means that they have a father or a relative that played in the league. Nepotism is amok. We look at Donald Trump, who Stephen A. always talks about. He done brought his entire family to the White House.
Mm.
So for folks to get upset with LeBron James for using his influence to get his son into the league, which he's playing in the G League, and he's doing well. But to question his parenting, I think that went a little too far for LeBron. And Steven sound like, he almost wanted to have an apology tour. He don't want to, he don't want to punk out, but he got punked. And, it was a big I and a little U situation, and Steven was a little U. And I think cooler heads prevailed. But I do want to say this. When I hear people say that's a part of his job, Jim Rome once insulted a football player, Jim Everett, and he kept calling him Chris, which was his son's name. Jim Everett whooped Jim Rome's ass right there in the studio. I think people forget about real life things. We have to be careful in how we talk about other people. And your job is never to disrespect the family or another person. You can cover sports without being salacious and being respectful. And that's what we need to bring back to this country. We need less of the Donald Trumpism, and we need to start respecting each other as human beings.
Rodney, you got anything to say before we roll out of here? We got 5 minutes.
I just need people to become more active. Yes, you need to watch the news so you know what's going on. You don't have to live in the news. And you need to prepare, and you need to act. And you need to act now and find other people to act with you.
That's what's up. Sister Rashi, I'm gonna let you close it out. What you got?
You know how quickly you went past Elon's exploded
Yeah, I did.
phallic machines?
Mm-hmm.
Well, those are actually supposed to be relieving some people who've been on their job 8 months. There are two stranded astronauts in the International Space Station. They got them. No, those.
They did a video a month ago saying that they are not stranded, and that's a lie. They are not
Okay.
stranded.
That's
Those
they don't want to look stranded.
no,
But
they're
this
not.
is the nature of space travel. You're not supposed to be up there no 8 months. And by now, if they were acting upon medical orders and how it's supposed to go, they should be back on planet Earth by now. And it's those exploded rockets that's supposed to get up there and bring the supplies and bring them back. And so what we're looking at is one of those times when American engineering could potentially be showing its decline, whether it is or not. It's presenting itself as if it's on the decline.
Gotcha.
And so please put your, because we love our thoughts and prayers.
1 minute,
Put
sis.
put your thoughts and prayers on those two, because they put your thoughts and prayers on the two individuals up there in space. And just know that when you see failed engineering, you may also be seeing potentially lives lost. And
Gotcha.
that was it.
Okay. Well, look, family. Last thing I wanted to slide in real quick. South Carolina executed Brad Siegman. He was 67 years old. He was convicted of double homicide in 2001. And he was executed by firing squad just yesterday. That was the second such instance that they've had since 2010. He was the second individual executed by firing squad. Um, Elections have their consequences, and we're living through some very real consequences. We need to be mindful in the future, from this day forward, of who we cast our vote for and why we are casting that vote. As I've said before, little Melvin taught me that when you make lifetime decisions based off of a momentary emotion, it usually does not turn out well at all. And here we go with this circus that has come to town. And we'll see how long it stays beyond the 4 years that it's supposed to be here. Family, again, today I'll be headed down to Alabama to take part in the reenactment of the crossing of the Edmund Pettus Bridge. So this being the 60th anniversary, me being this close, it doesn't make sense for me not to be there. So I'm gonna slide down there and do what I do. But for all of you all, please, we wish you a safe and happy Saturday. As we always do about this time, we gonna tell you that we love you. Ain't a damn thing you can do about it. Until next week, family. You all be good. You all be safe. I'm gonna try to do better with the connection next go around too. I think I got it.